Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Shadow and Sun. Today we're making scarecrows.
Scarecrows and what we're affectionately calling a Harvest Demon. Might be a little difficult to see. Or let's move this just so we can do a little contrast.
Yeah.
It's more a Sam Haim type of character. And to go along with this little guy, we're going to be making some Scarecrow minions. This one isn't our best result, but we made some improvements on the process, so I'm going to show you how to make more of these little guys that actually ended up being kind of big compared to regular 28mm miniatures, but they are minions, so they can be bigger, I suppose.
That makes so much sense. I think you meant to say a different word. Also, we made this guy's head with instead of pumpkins. Should I show the wrapper of the things that
We don't have.
Yeah, but the birds?
No.
Okay.
They're just little plastic pumpkins
for like doll houses or something.
From Hobby Lobby. They're about $1 a piece. I only needed one. I then put some green stuff to make his face along with the antlers. But other than that, all you need to make one of these is actually, a toothpick. I drilled a pin vise hole through the pumpkin, mounted it on a toothpick. Then we used some 24 gauge wire to make the armatures and the hands and things like that. And the rest is made out of dried baby wipes. You let them dry roughly overnight, and they turn back into a cloth that's really thin and will actually reabsorb the white glue and water mixture we're going to use toward the end of this project.
By the way, people who saw our giant skeletons video, that's the same thing we made to make the ones the first one wasn't that good. But I don't think we used that for the. I think we only used it for the one you made.
Yes, and as you can see, the next one we're going to make, the pumpkin head, is made with. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Yes. Just your basic bead glued to a toothpick, and then the rest is green stuff. And I'm going to go through making another one of those, and then I'll use this one to build the armature, the arms and the legs on. While I'm doing that, little guy is going to start painting this spiffy little demon. What color are you going to start with first? This color?
For this?
Yes.
Then yes.
And I suppose you can use this Pringles lid.
Likely.
For those of you new to the channel, we use these like crazy for larger miniature bases and palettes because we have our own special dry brushing technique. Let's give that a good shake.
It is better if you use these. Or something with a similar shape.
Yeah, you'll see little guy as he starts to dry brush what we're talking about.
Use this?
Yeah, but move everything over off to the side a little and show them just the first couple of swipes with the dry brushing technique that we developed. We just added a step to your basic dry brushing technique.
So you put the paint on the brush. Do I bring it closer?
Yeah.
And then for people who haven't seen the channels, you do this too.
Basically scrape off as much of the paint onto the lid edge so you can recycle the paint. Instead of just wiping it right off on a paper towel, which he's still going to do, the little bit that you wipe off on the lid, you'll actually reuse in just a moment as he continues to dry brush. This way we save paint because right now it's very difficult to get any kind of paint through the mail. Our local Hobby Lobby doesn't really have a lot of paint in stock, and even then it's only Vallejo. And normally we use Army Painter, but we are branching out to use some Vallejo just because it's got a larger line of colors. Army Painter's good paint. And I'm just mixing up some green stuff to make the next pumpkin head. I also want to give a special shout out to a couple of our new viewers and subscribers, James, Jason, and David. Hope you're enjoying the show tonight. These three gentlemen are all eBay friends of ours. Some of them we've known for quite a long time. They're big fans of the Dungeon Dwellers line of heritage miniatures, which all of us have been fans of since the 80s, and they have so graciously joined our little family here of viewers, and hopefully they're watching tonight. Hopefully you guys are watching tonight, wherever you may be, and hopefully you're having a nice, safe week. And I'm just about done with the green stuff. Are you going to use that same color? You were going to use that on what else?
The
gloves.
Gloves.
Okay.
Hands.
You might want to give that a second coat after you do the hands, just to darken it up, the color a little, because it's
Getting bright.
well, yeah, it's barely noticeable because of the black underneath it.
So I should.
You can either do a thicker dry brush, or you can go over it again.
Yeah, I'm doing a thicker dry brush. Yeah, even if I barely get the paint on it.
The black is just super strong, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel. I mean, obviously, if I don't take any off, it's gonna put a huge amount.
Yeah, it's probably better to do a second dry brush. That's sometimes the first coat of dry brush will act like a secondary primer or an undercoat. Okay, I think hopefully this will be enough green stuff for what we're doing here. Basically, those of you who know green stuff, you got two shapes. You got the ball or teardrop shape, but for these we need the worm or the snake. We're just gonna take a little piece like that. You want it kind of rounded or pointy at each end. And yeah, now go under the hands, and then you just swoop it under. This will greatly increase the size of the pumpkin when you're done. And if you wanted a larger pumpkin or a smaller pumpkin, you can just make smaller snakes. We leave the toothpick out here up at the top so that it gives you the little stem of the pumpkin. You see where I'm going with this. And after this is cured for a few minutes, I'll then work on the face, which is it's not hard, but
You failed on it twice.
yeah, the first one turned out great. The second one, not so much, because I think it was partially, as you notice, I actually used milliput on the front and green stuff on the back, because I had a little extra green stuff started there. And then I was doing something with milliput, so I just finished it off with milliput. And the eyes turn out okay, but the mouths are what you're going to have the most trouble with. And
With milliput or
yeah, milliput just did not want to form into teeth-like shapes.
you could just do lines.
And don't worry if there's a little gap in there. You kind of want that little gap between the two snakes, because that's how pumpkins are shaped. We'll go on to the next one. And I don't know if you'll be able to actually see this last step of making the face, but I'll try to make it as visible as possible. Yeah, I think I'll have enough. You can even go thicker on the gloves, just because there's,
Less shadow.
yeah.
Huh.
See, it's already starting to look like a pumpkin. I hope. It's starting to look like a pumpkin already.
Almost. Kind of.
And if I don't have enough, I'll just leave the back side and do that later. What's really important for you guys is to see how we do the face.
Is this good?
Yeah, that's fine. That's actually really good.
Do I do the other one?
You definitely do the other one, and try to be careful not to get any on the staff, but if you do, with a pitchfork. I'll turn that around and show the camera. What you've done so far.
I feel like I should do this one.
Yeah, you're still a long way. Whoops, I keep doing that. I'll just move that over there. And this stuff is already starting to get to where we want it to work with the improvised sculpting tools. We don't really, we have as you may have seen before, a nice set of sculpting tools, but for this, all we actually need is a toothpick. There we go, that looks good. And I think this last little bit is just too small. That's unfortunate. I'll just make a small one. And then I'll need a little longer. All right. We have a little gap back there, but I ran out of milk or green stuff, and I don't want to mix up another batch and then have it get wasted. This stuff will start to cure rather quickly. Now on to the face. Let's see what you got. You need a little bit more paint in your palette there?
No. I can tell this is getting good. Is it?
Yeah, it's really still, that black is just really strong.
Yeah. It's also sometimes I get a lot and I like wipe off barely any and it doesn't get much, but then I put like half as much and it smears all over. And it gets a huge amount yellow or brown or whatever this color is.
I think it's desert yellow.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yes, it's desert yellow army painter.
I know that, but I mean, what's the actual color?
Desert yellow.
I know that!
But I pulled it away from the camera too fast.
Oh. That makes sense.
Okay, now I don't know if I can do this upside down. This is going to be difficult. But basically, to make, let's move these little parts in a little more so that, there we go. A little more.
Actually, I have an idea.
Huh.
Legs. Or you could do that. Much
Yeah, that way I don't have to work upside down, which is, so you just find this center.
By the way, I'm pretty much finished with the first coat.
Which color do you want to go?
Just
Let that dry and go into another color?
Yeah.
What color?
The next color.
The darker brown?
Yeah. Do I use the other brush?
Yes, definitely. I'll give you a little bit more this time.
Yeah, because there's more of it. I think that's like almost the same amount. Okay.
Okay. Now, as I was saying with the pumpkin head, you want to pick, imagine this is his nose. We aren't actually going to make a nose, but this will be the center of the face. And I just take this toothpick at an angle and press in and then pull down to get your eye. Depending on the shape you want, I want the bigger part sort of squeezing up to a point. And don't worry if you make a little error, you can just redo it to make it a little more pointy. There we go. How's that eye look? That looks good. Now, we'll do the same thing, backwards, left-handed. That didn't turn out quite the same. It's hard doing it reverse.
Yeah.
And you can always
I have
fix.
an idea. I don't. You stand it. You do it. Yes. By the way,
Yeah, no, I didn't finish the back because I ran out. There we go. Make him a little more evil looking. Now for the mouth, I just drew a very thin indentation for the upper lip. That you were trying to get into the video.
No, he's licking the floor.
He's a dog, they do that.
I know, but still.
Okay, that line is just a little too much. And then I just make pointy indentations up too much. For teeth. Because the line that I'm making is actually going to be the space, not the actual tooth. There we go. And if you don't like the way it looks at the bottom, you can add like I did with Sam Hain over there, and I actually added a tiny, tiny lip around the mouth, which I will do off camera because I don't want to.
Oh.
And when you paint this, you'll be able to see the details just a little bit more. All right, there we have it. One pumpkin head. Now we're going to go on to the dried one. And I'm going to take some wire. This, I believe, is 24 gauge wire. It's nice and thin. And we're going to go on to making the arms and the hands at the same time. Just knocking stuff over left and right here. I'll put that so it doesn't stick to the table. And we're just going to guess because we want the fingers and the hands to be larger than life. And you can always trim it off at the end. So whatever length you get, you double it because you're going to wrap it around the neck. You're going to do this several times, roughly 5 times, so you make each finger separate. Let's bend that in half again, just so that we get it even. Spread it apart, slide it in there. And wrap it around a couple of times. You can also super glue the wire in place, but then you have to put it down, let it dry and all that. Those are still a little too long. Let's do one more. This way.
What about the sleeves?
The sleeves
Yeah.
are the same dark brown.
Okay. Is that good?
Yeah, it is actually. Nice and creepy. And we can always go over with different colors. Okay, there's the first finger. Basically, you're making the arm. Actually, that's going to be the thumb. What am I saying? So you can bend it up a little there. There, because you'll be bending it in all kinds of ways before you're done. Like I said, don't worry if the wires aren't exactly perfect.
no.
What happened?
It fell over.
As long as the antlers are okay, we're all good.
Yeah, they definitely couldn't. Oh, I messed up. I forgot to wipe it off.
That's okay.
In an area that would be a lot darker. And this thing right here.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I got a bunch of paint there.
That's okay. Paint, you're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Oh.
Okay, so we now have the thumb and the index finger, or the pointer finger, excuse me. Same thing.
Are you going to show them how you do the clothes part?
Yeah, I'm just going to go to the arms. The legs are basically the same thing, but
Do I do this back part?
no, just concentrate on the front of it so that they get a nice good look. They can, like we've done before, we'll do half.
Okay, I think I'm actually going to... Well, I just need one more thing. Oh,
Butterfingers tonight, huh?
yeah. Okay, I'm done. With the brown part at least.
Okay. You want to go on to the red or the pumpkin?
Red, I guess.
Okay.
We'll do the back of the cape for simplicity. Also, shouldn't I use this brush for the back of the cape?
No,
Why?
because we're not doing the back.
Oh, okay.
We're only
It's
doing
a lot simpler.
We're just doing the front of the miniature tonight.
Okay.
Oop, that's probably a lot.
That's enough to do the entire back as well.
Okay.
Honestly, I think doing the back would be faster.
Yeah, but they won't be able to see it.
True.
Ah. Look, we missed the opportunity of the last video to do that. I had to make up for it.
I don't know.
And it's starting to take shape. Again, we will be trimming these fingers down if necessary. And you could go with 4 fingers if you want, I suppose, or 3 fingers and a thumb, but I didn't want to do that.
You want to do 4 in a
I
thumb?
didn't want to do the Simpsons thing.
Okay.
Okay, now we go
Even though
2 more times and we're done with the arms. I need a bigger piece of wire for the last one. Oops. Shouldn't have done that. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing here, but it's more of just the same wiring process here. Just
Okay,
almost done with the red.
yeah. And then maybe getting in this very back area.
Well, check you out, Mr. Speed Painter.
Oh, I was not expecting that.
Reminds me of the old pencil trick. You ever see that where people pretend to make the pencil move, but they're actually just blowing on it? It's one of the first magic tricks I learned in school.
Okay, I'm done with that.
What color do you need now?
The pumpkin color.
Why don't you go ahead and use up the red on the back?
Okay, I'll do that.
No. Oh, okay. You're gonna use the big brush?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to.
Okay.
I should use the red to save paint.
Okay.
See what I have done so far. Yeah. That's also I'm going to make the back of the cape a lot brighter red to make it look a bit different.
Okay.
So I'm gonna add more red.
Just make sure you don't do it too much so that you...
Is this good?
Yeah, because we definitely want the shadows to show up from the folds and creases of the robe and the cloak or whatever that is. I was originally inspired by this, by the old Ghostbusters cartoon. Maybe some of you viewers remember that growing up. And my buddy and I watched it one day, and we had never heard of Sam Haim before, and we just thought he was the coolest new Halloween bad guy.
This is good? Or is this too much?
That's fine. We can always darken it up if we need to. With a wash.
I was just kind of already thinking we might end up using a wash, but I almost don't now because how much this stuff is. Is this good? Should I do more?
Let me just see. Just...
Should I do more?
Yeah, no, that actually looks really good, actually. Okay, now the hands may look a little comical. Got your thumb at the top. And I can trim these all down.
And, excuse me?
every video.
It's on every video. This is actually the first video in a while. I think.
Oop, I just got poked in the eye. Good thing I was wearing glasses.
And if you weren't?
I'd be, I don't know, maybe going off to the emergency room?
Really?
No.
Would it have actually hit you in the eye?
We will also be adding some.
Is this enough washing off?
Are you done with that brush?
Yeah.
We can always wash it off after the video. Just
Okay.
set that
I
off.
just realized I don't think I washed it off yet. That's not a good thing.
We'll be adding some super glue gel, actually Gorilla Glue, onto the hands, dripping it down the fingers to thicken them up. I didn't bring that here to the table, so you'll just have to take my word for it. It's starting to look pretty good. Nice dry brushing on the back. That really, you can see all the different folds, and it's supposed to be kind of like a hood back.
Kind of red now.
Yes, that'll happen. Just you're going on to the orange anyway, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Okay.
And when the paint completely dries, if we need to go over to second color or a second coat, we'll do that.
Which one's starting to think we aren't going to need to.
And is that the orange? Shake it up good. Make sure you've got plenty of room. But like I was saying,
Am I going to dry brush on this?
yes, you're going to dry brush the pumpkin
Just a
head.
much heavier dry brush?
No, just start with light because we don't want to lose any of those shadowy lines in
Okay,
different.
it's starting to... It's weird. Why does it have a red in it?
Okay, that just means it didn't get shaken up enough, so you just have to stir it with your paintbrush until it's a. Sometimes Army Painter has that side effect where you need to see. Now it looks perfect. And try not to get that all over the board, but too late. Oh no. Okay.
Oh,
You did. Oh, maybe not.
yeah. Maybe not.
That's okay, we can fix that.
So I'd actually do a really light dry brush?
Yes.
That isn't that good.
We'll just go back over that with red. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Something
Okay.
you're doing whenever you
And
know.
I'm going to just do this part as quick as I can for you folks, just to give you an idea of how we don't have enough time to do the legs. But the legs are basically easier than that. You just decide where
In
you want.
reality, you don't even need to do legs if you have them have like a robe.
Yeah, kind of like I did with him. But
Or
you could even go
the thing that the skeleton had.
right, or you could go with actual wooden stick legs. Scarecrows aren't always fully dressed. Let's put it that way. But to simulate the clothing that we were going to put on him, just going to take some of our, and we will bend the fingers into a more hand-like shape once we decide what we're going to put in the hands, and that'll disguise the fact that
You
they're
just
just made
realized
out of
something?
wires. What'd you realize?
I'm not sure if this is gonna look too good because of the black underneath it.
That's okay.
I mean, I don't really like how this looks. I think we might have even wanted to dry brush the white first,
No, we'll just dry brush it orange again.
but that'll almost remove all those.
No, it won't. Trust me.
Okay.
But with the clothing, don't forget that this is just some strips of the baby wipes, and we dip it in what we call milk, but it's really white glue and
You
water.
call it milk.
Okay, I just tore that in half.
Fantastic.
Sometimes it's not a big deal. Sometimes that happens with the smaller strips, and then you try to squeeze out as much of the liquid as you can. And I'm just going to start with making sleeves, and you want to roll it up under real tight at the beginning, so the tension will hold. You can always go back, and some of the layers are several layers thick, just to get something for the rest of the layers to hold on to.
I think I might have done a too thick layer.
We can always wash and reinvigorate those
This is
lines.
good.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, we could always go over it with a soft tone or a medium tone wash. And then do another strip of cloth in there.
I mean, I did do something I'm not sure I should have done.
Yeah, see how it brightens up a little more? And if it's too bright,
No, but that's because I barely took any off.
that's okay.
I didn't even take any off. I dipped it in there. I put it on a
Yeah,
single
I've done that before
and then
when it's
spray
dry
it on.
brushing. Yeah, and sometimes, especially when you're going over black, you can,
Get away with it.
yeah, because you wanted to brighten it up anyways. And then we're just gonna lay another layer over this. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing here.
Also, I didn't do the red in the front
Oh, you didn't?
of this color.
Oh,
Also, I'm doing the back of the pumpkin.
okay. And you just twist it. Whatever technique works best for you guys when you're doing this fake clothing. You could just use green stuff or putty to sculpt the clothing, but
He's too lazy to do that.
it's not that. It's just
You think it looks better?
in some cases it looks better. Some cases, on actual miniatures, I'm certain they don't do that. But waiting 2 weeks to get green stuff in the mail from wherever we order it from is just.
That's something you feel like doing?
Yeah, I'm impatient when it comes to mail order. I do a lot of it, and like my eBay
Go on.
friends out there know, I usually mail their order out the very next day, and
Or at least try to.
when I see somebody else sitting on my money for 4 or 5 days, I get real irritated, and then shop elsewhere next time. I'll do the same thing on the other arm.
Is this good?
Yeah, see?
You're doing the back?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna wash it off and then do that.
What are you gonna do? What color are you gonna do next?
Red.
Okay, you're gonna finish up with the red.
Yeah, but I almost want to do it with the other brush. But I'm not going to. Also, the red's almost dry. Also, this brush is actually starting to split.
Yeah, it does that. That's why I put it in my mouth and remake the point.
Mm.
And now you may think this is looking like bandages, but
Well, it is.
what I'll do is I'll take a bigger piece instead of just using like a bandage piece. I'll use a piece like this big and just wrap it around
Okay.
once and scrunch it. Now I'm gonna try to do. You know what? If I do that, yeah, I think I can get away with that. Make sort of what's going to look like a robe, the front folds of the robe, like I did with Sam over there.
Okay, I'm done with painting. Well, in the antlers and the thing, and the stone thing, but for the cape, I'm done.
Okay. Show the camera.
Wait, just a minute.
Voila.
Okay.
Now it looks like the front of a shirt.
Are you gonna bend the arms?
Not until everything's dry.
Oh.
And there you have it, Sam Hain, and by the 29th he'll have a small army of minions.
And by small army, you mean 3?
I mean 4.
4?
Yeah, 4. Because we made the new pumpkin today. We made the old one. Oh yeah, I guess 3, you're right.
Are you that bad at maths?
Yeah, I'm that bad at maths. So there you have it, folks. You take these off because I can actually...
Oh, I never even used all these.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay. You don't need them now, do you?
Yeah, it's required.
Okay. Not too bad. Let's see if we can get a good long view of these things so it'll make a nice thumbnail. Fix your hair. You got a mustache.
I There. There you want.
No.
Well, cool.
There you go. So that's it for tonight, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe if you haven't already. We will see you Sunday for Durkar.
Yes,
the
that's
final
how our schedule works.
the final painting on Durkar, the Sovereign Serpent. Little guy's going to be showing off his skills once again, and I'll
finishing
be
it's pretty much just dry brushing.
right.
It's not like the first episode or the second episode.
And I'll be sitting off to the side, just twiddling my
dry
thumbs.
brushing is still something that works.
Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for stopping by, and happy holidays, everybody.
Yes.
Good night.